Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the very first live stream and the very first episode of Decode. Decode is going to be a series of live conversations that I'll have, but they'll be very much related to subjects regarding your careers in workplaces, discussions which are directly linked with your personal development. Today's conversation is very much linked with our first time jobs and the issues that we have on that job. I'm going to discuss a number of things that has happened, with me, my friends, my colleagues, people that directly report to me and have reported to me over the last, few years, and things that I've learned, mistakes that I did, things that made me fail miserably. And I wanted to share those experiences in these conversations so you guys are not failing in the same events and situations in life. Let's talk about how about changing the narrative around job problems. So we're going to talk about a lot of these things as challenges. If it's a problem, you're looking at it from a telescope and you're using the analogy where you have turned yourself into a victim. And rule number one is you will never see yourself as a victim. The world is like this, will always be like this. The world will not change. So we're talking about how will you try and function with a world which is out there to get you. Okay? And this is going to be our reality. We're going to be realist in these conversations rather than being an optimist. I am saying being a realist in a sense that I'll talk about tools, how to make sure that you're in control of those situations rather than just coming to you and you're telling me a problem and I'm saying, be positive. This is not going to be how the conversations where we're talking about this Decode series will discuss about solutions. Okay, so let's talk about number one. Let's talk about the success mindset. When you join a job, what do you care about? Do you care about, I've just gotten the job, how do I make sure that I pass my probation, make sure this becomes a full-time job? How do I stay secure in my job? Or how do I become successful? These are completely different things. I've seen people that start a job and from the day one, all they're trying to do is please everyone at the new role. They're trying to work really hard. They're trying to do more than what their job requires, sometimes even outside the realm of their jobs. Like if you are in sales, some people also do work for HR extra. If you're in sales, you're doing work with marketing, something extra. Is that a good thing, bad thing? Let's discuss. But what do you do? What kind of mindset do you want to have? Previously, 10 years ago, Saadi would do this. He'll start a job. He'll go in. He's going to start working on looking at what are the things that he really likes on a job like this. What will help him grow on a job like this? Third, how can Saadi improve his salary? These are the three things Saadi will be, concerned about. And Saadi will not care about anything else, about progression, growth, what can he do more, what kind of impact does he want to provide, how can he help others around him grow and succeed. But in 10 years transition, what I've learned is all these things that I talked about that I never thought of are connected. If the people around you are not growing, there's less chances of you growing individually. And this will happen in some organizations, but out of experience, I'm telling you, there is more chances if the entire team grows that you'll grow, but there are less chances that you will grow individually. And I'll try and bring more context to it. But now what I want to do when I join a new role is first, I become an observer. I don't want to play at my front foot. I don't want to go in and all of a sudden make assumptions. I don't go in with a thought that, hey, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. This guy is, a really, really negative person and make assumptions. I don't know anything. The first month that I spend on a new job nowadays is I just ask questions, more questions, and more questions. And this is going to be a theme of today. In a new role, in order to become really, really good at your job and create more impact and also bring value for your employer, so they can never even think about getting rid of your role because you are someone who is doing so much more than your own role and your own job. That is where I would make all these analysis based out of questions. And the first one is all about questions. I'm doing my research about the organization. What do the people think about the company? What does the company think about the people? What are the processes and how can the processes be improved? Who put the processes in place? Is it something that the client wants? Is it something that you want? And all these things. Hey Ashfaq, how are you? Thanks for joining the live stream. If you have any career related questions from your first time job or people that you employ, do share those questions and I'm going to answer. But today's session is going to be job problems. And I'll tell you why a lot of these people will never find the courage, the trust, and also the certainty to stick on a job that they should stick with. Okay. So I'm talking about the first month of me being in a role now is all about making questions, making observations, doing my study on this organization and the project that I'm a part of, looking at what keeps my boss happy, what keeps my boss's boss happy, what does keep my team happy, what is keeping my colleagues happy, what are the things I can support them with, and what are the things I don't want to support them with, because if I'm supporting them with something which is not right, I'm not doing them service. I'm doing them disservice. I also want to see what form of communication is needed in the organization. I'm saying needed in the organization. I'm analyzing the current form of communication. Do they do a lot of video meetings, person meetings? Do they talk about, what kind of things are, influencing your environment around you? Or are they trying to keep it very fluid? Like, is it flexible? Is it multiple mediums? Talking about those things in my head and looking at what the best solution is. I have realized that communication is a very influential tool. Very influential tool. But a lot of time, if I have something important to say to my employee, I have something very important to talk to my colleague or even my boss, I'm not going to prepare. I'm going to go up on stage thinking that I'm someone who is super, equipped with the best words, the best way of putting this message through. And I'm going to just go and do an impromptu speech. Most times, you will do a very bad job in communicating feedback to your boss, your colleague. And what will happen is that is the beginning of a conflict. You don't want that to happen. Most of the time when I'm about to have a conversation with my boss, with my colleague or somebody else, what I will do is I will have this conversation planned a day before, practiced a day before. Look at what might be the following arguments that the person I'm speaking to might put up. And how do I convince him that this is not me sharing this because I think this is wrong? This is my point of view. And this is what I think you should be doing. So it benefits both you and me. It has to be a win-win. If I want somebody to do more work, it has to be a win-win. And this is the difference between how you will, manage that you are successful in a new role that you're beginning. Let's talk about something else. A lot of people are, college, sir, no worries, Ashfaq. Then think of all the things that might be problems around, your seniors, your big brother, elder sister, or somebody, even cousins that are working in an organization. And what do they keep complaining about? Our salaries are not good enough. People don't trust us. There's a lot of politics in the office. All these things do have a very strong essence of how you will experience your job, your college, or even your professional life. And as I draw the line between the tools that we need and also the mindset that we have, it all again comes back to the mindset. You don't want to ever have a mindset that, hey, I am someone that is, very, very motivated. I'm someone who is very, very optimist about, the role, but the company does not do anything. What are you doing about this? As I mentioned at the very beginning, life is not going to change for you. Life is going to remain. That's a constant, okay? You have to decide what you're going to do about the situations. And the first thing that you want to do is cut the negativity, cut the victim blaming, cut the, cut the conversation that you're having in your head that, hey, my pay is not good enough, I can't make it. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of office politics. There's a lot of bias in the organization. I'm not going to be making to the point that I want to, in this organization that I'm a part of. That is where we're headed. Second thing, I just got a new job. Do you know that 70% of all the people that get a job or a new job or a new role always have one thing in common? They think they were never trained enough for the role that they have. This is common. What are you doing about it is the main constant. And that's where we're talking and taking these conversations through. We're going to make sure that we have a 90-day plan when we start a job. The first 30 days, as I mentioned, will be all about making those observations, understanding what the way of communication is, what do you think are the problems, and then investigation of those problems by question like, hey, talking to your colleague about, I've heard a lot of people complain about this. What do you think about that? Taking their perspective, your boss's perspective, somebody which is a senior agent, their perspective, somebody that is a very starter in the organization, they're very positive, their perspective. You want to analyze all these different pain points and understand what the real problem is. A lot of time people are complaining about my pay is not good enough. That's a symptom. The problem might be that they're not skilled enough to get higher pay. How do you fix that situation is what's going to make you a better fit for the role and also succeed at that role. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about step number 2. Now comes the tools. So number 1, out of all the conversations that you've had, you have understood that tools like communication, as I mentioned, is a tool. Second, your skill sets and the organizational tools, like are they using some softwares? Are they using some, equipment? Are they using some form of software and then, services which they have outsourced, like a vendor? These are all different components that you need to take into discussion and how you will understand what can you improve around those conversations. My cat's trying to be a climber, and I think Max is trying to do something extraordinary. Max, just don't fall. Please don't fall. Yeah, jump. Jump, jump. Okay, we'll let him play. Okay, let's go to tools, understanding those tools, because tools are now going to be our next step to creating that kind of, oh my goodness. We'll actually, move on to the topic because he has done an extraordinary circus trick, which I can't show you because the camera's fixed. Now what I've done is the camera's fixed to my table, and that's why there's no movement involved because live stream, isi wajah se, we're doing it because my laptop, I've ordered it, but it's going to take another 15 days to deliver. And till then, we only have one way of coming, and doing content creation, which is live or shorts. And shorts I'm creating, but they're in the making. Number 2, you need to understand the tools and also take what are the tools that you can improve most. So what are the things that you can improve? If the company is losing money, save that. If the company wants to make more money, help them make that. If some people are not working, how can you help them improve those people's performance? And the last thing is, how can you be doing your job and also do all the things that I mentioned? So now we have mentioned that first, observation. Second, understanding the tools. Now, the third month, which is like after the first 60 days that are passed, now your execution should be ready. Like, hey, I've noticed these are the problems. These are the tools. These are my solutions. I'll go one after one after one, and I'll have already shared my solutions, suggestions, recommendations to the organization, to my boss, to the HR manager, to the team members, to my colleagues, to the people that are junior to me and reporting directly to me, that these are all the solutions that I have. Which ones get approval should be implemented immediately. So people start seeing that, hey, this guy has come in and all of a sudden he's not just breaking things and moving things around. He has taken time, he has listened to us, he knows what we've gone through, and he's trying to propose solutions to this. When we're doing these things, I want you to also focus that in this job, while you're working on making sure that you're growing, everyone around you is on the same boat. So if you're talking about me all the time and I and me and I and me, change those conversations. You need to be talking about us. You need to be talking about we. How do we succeed? How do we all win? How do we make sure that us all together grow as a team? And that will be the foundation to your success. And utilizing all these mediums that I've spoken about, you need to understand that communication is a big factor. Working from home let's take the example of that. When you're working from home, the biggest challenge somebody has is the hardest people of the team usually don't communicate that they're doing something. And I was reading a book. One of the highest performing managers, always complained that they did not see that their work is being acknowledged. I want you to think about, why would somebody not acknowledge the best performer's work? Maybe they don't even know that you're doing that amazing work. And that is something that I want you to do starting from your very first job. Every Friday, either an email, a message, a conversation, a 2-minute voice note, or go and meet your boss and say, hey boss, I've completed A, B, and C this week. The next week's targets for me, my challenges are this. I want to achieve this goal in the next 1 month, and I want to do this, but I will require your support. What I'm trying to do is every week in these verbal conversations, I'm giving him a very good insight of what I want to achieve, what I've already done, and where I want his help. So he's always in the loop of, hey, this guy is actually doing his work. He's also, telling me that he has achieved this, and this is why he didn't achieve this week. This is his goal for next week. This is where he is feeling a bit confused. He wants my help. And this is going to communicate every week with him what I've done. Most of the time, this is one of the biggest reasons. If an organization has to lay off 50 people, you know who they will lay off? The 50 people they think with the data that they have, which is limited, they will think of these 50 people, because they did not know what they were doing, as people that are actually not doing their job. Because you need to make sure that people around you also know what you're doing. You don't have to be the best performer. You have to be the best performer, but also make sure that you're linking your work with others. If you have a solution that allows you to be the best salesperson, share that with other team members, and your boss will know, like, hey, I learned this from Mac. I learned this from Saadi. I learned this from that guy. And, he made sure that everybody in the team knows about this trick. And all of a sudden, the entire sales team's sale goes 13% up. You know what's going to happen? You're going to get a promotion. This is the way you're going to lead your job, your careers. At the end of the day, I've seen people that are not even ready for the opportunity. What's going to happen on your jobs? An opportunity is going to come. Everybody is going to have a lot of opportunities in their career. What happens mostly is people are not ready for it. Opportunity is just like a bus. It's going to arrive. It's going to just take off. That's a plane. But yeah, you got the point. Okay. So an opportunity is literally that it will arrive to you, but it won't wait for you to be ready. So you need to be ready before the opportunity arrives in helping others out, becoming a coach for others, becoming a leader in your team, even without a title. And these are the roles that you do without designation, and the organization sees you as a leader, and then they'll think, If I have to create a new role and I want somebody to become the manager of all my bunch, who will be the best fit? Somebody from the outside or someone that is already doing the work? That is how I want you to play. So let's recap. Number one that I've spoken about is, hey, you will come in and you'll make sure that you just change your mindset or reset your mindset. You will not think about problems. You'll think about challenges. Your challenges are very positive. When you're overcoming them, it builds your self-confidence. Second, you're going to spend the first 30 days analyzing, asking questions, open-ended questions, and just be a sponge. Take all the insights, information, and overwhelm yourself the first month. Second month, understand the tools, processes, structures, systems around you. Understand the organization and what kind of systems are in place. Third month, you need to now all of a sudden go into action. There needs to be action from you. What are you adding? What values are you bringing? What solutions? What kind of things have you improved in the entire organization? And the last point is communicating all that. Communicating being the umbrella upon all the things that you're doing, from your interview to getting this job to starting this job and also succeeding in your point forward. So this is what you want to make sure that you're doing with your bosses, with your colleagues, with the organization, and also the people that might be under you that are reporting to you and you're managing. So, these are all things very, very important. The next question in line is, a lot of people are complaining that how do we get visibility? How do we get opportunities? How do we, how do we make sure that we're selected to be the next point forward? I want you to focus on yourself and think of organizations as also human beings. Imagine an organization being dependent on a certain person. Imagine an organization's division that can't work or function without a certain person. What do you think will happen if they can't function without anyone or you? If they can't function without you, they can't afford to lose you. First, we're going to go to that point. Once we have gone to that point, then we're going to start a process called negotiation. Then I'm going to tell my boss, hey, boss, I've started receiving a lot of offers from other companies that I don't want to join, but they have started bringing me to those tables because of what they're offering. And I don't know if my financial matters would allow me to ignore those kind of offers for a long time. And you want to bring those offers to your organization. And that is where you will start looking at first proving yourself being the best at your organization. And this is by far the most interesting thing. If you want to go into an organization and be an average individual working your 9 to 5, and then you're expecting opportunities to happen, I'll tell you one thing. Competition in this day and age is massive. If you're not the best in your organization, in your team, in your community, in your industry, opportunities won't come to you. Opportunities are just like, I would say success and opportunity is something, according to Jim Rohn, that is attracted to you. So if you're not worth it, they're not going to get attracted as strongly to you than some other individual that has put in that hard work the entire year or in a decade. And then they are going to attract all those opportunities towards them. And that's what I want everyone to understand. And then when you're negotiating, you need to understand the concept of leveraging. Why did I speak about all these things? Be really good at your job. Improve the organizations. Improve the systems. Add so much value that the organization sees that you're creating that kind of value in the organization. You're bringing money in. You're actually helping them grow as a company, okay? And then lastly, when I say negotiate, you need to understand, I mentioned, you need to make sure that the division, the department, the team is dependent on you. Because what you offer, if that is replaceable, you have very minimum leverage. You need to have high leverage if you want to be the winning party in negotiation. That is what is the most important thing that we need to keep in focus, okay? And keeping this all in mind, I want you all to also understand, you either make all these mistakes to go through 10 years of all these gaps and accidents and situations that you learn from, or you learn from other people's mistakes, like me, like so many people that have written books using mediums like YouTube, the place that you're watching this live stream on. I want you to understand these are all mediums that weren't available to people before you, before me. Our parents, our grandparents did not have access to a massive library where they can upskill in weeks. They can learn anything from other industries globally across the world. And I want you to understand that it's either going to take a few months for you to learn from other people's mistakes by reading books and using these tools. Either it's going to take 10 years. What I've learned in the last 10 years, that if I could speak to myself 10 years ago, I would have actually tell Saadi 10 years ago that sit down, don't waste your time, change your company for your own growth, for your own mindset improvement, and also make sure that you are willing to learn from books that people have written. There are so many good books that have been written on how to manage your jobs better, how to be successful at roles like being a first-time manager. I'm going to start recommending those books in this upcoming series. There will be an entire episode dedicated to the books that I want you to go through. And I hope that this series is going to bring a lot more knowledge to you. And in this, as I'm sharing more and more thoughts about my experiences working in organization, I'm going to try and take things further and add more insights to why I work for multinational companies, why I decided to move from, retail fast food to, tech in the industry and, tech space, and why did I, chose Europe as a base for my work. So looking at all these different things into perspective. Lastly, what I've also started working on, and that's in the making, is after all these conversations, I'm going to start adding links where you can download these things. So when I'm training you about, hey, let's talk about open-ended questions, at the end of those sessions and videos, if you don't want to listen to the entire 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour session with guidance, you can at least go click on the link, download this open-ended question that you can use on your jobs, and you can start using those as something that will benefit you. And looking forward to have more chats with you, more conversations with you. Thank you, Asif. Love back from Pakistani living in Ireland. And, stay blessed. Take care of yourself. And I'm looking forward to this series. I'm looking forward to this series with excitement, because I think Decode is something that is a new beginning. That's a up skill for me, because the thing is, I've previously been doing a lot of conversations with students, and now those students, when they've joined the job market, I want to also guide them through different scenarios. And I want to equip all of you with things that you should be ready before your first job, because a lot of these things will never be taught in your universities. The university will talk about different tools, subjects, theories, models, most of them obsolete for the real life business and jobs. So where we come in play now is, how do you take everything that you've learned in your BBAs, MBA, Bachelor in Science, Bachelor in Computer Sciences, go into any role, any company, and do these things, build these habits to be successful and grow from point A to point B and become the next leader in your organization or in the company that you have started yourself. So these are not new things. These are habits that you need to build as disciplines that will transform your life. So do let me know your feedback about this first episode. I'm going to continue to bring more and more fab stuff from the business, operations, and tech industry. And I'm going to continue sharing those with you with a pinch of inspiration, a bit more of coffee. And I'll just say sayonara for now. Take care of yourself. Adios.